This is the Fight for Your Health, the show that teaches you how to master the fine art of living your life on purpose and have a longer, healthier, and happier life through the martial arts lifestyle. The show is hosted by Professor Buitron and his co-host, Grand Master Richard Hackworth. These two experts have combined their efforts and are on a mission to make the world a safer, healthier, and happier place through the martial arts lifestyle. Now, to tell it like it is, here are your...
Hello and welcome to the Fight for Your Health TV show, here live and in person with our host, Professor Buitron, and I am your co-host, Richard Hackworth. And today we have a pretty interesting topic because this thing is something that everybody needs to achieve everything that they're going to do in life. And today's topic is how to improve your self-discipline. And Professor Buitron, I know that this is something, especially when you deal with kids and athletes, that you do a lot of coaching on. So what would be your first tip for anyone that's wanting to improve their self-discipline?
Well, it's a good question because that word discipline can be divided into two different things. One can be the character of the person and how his personality and how he acts and so on and so forth, that type of discipline. And the other one can be, I'm learning a discipline, What the first thing for as a person to build their discipline, to build everything, you have to start planning. You have to start being your self motivator. I know you're a great motivator with everybody that you've done, and you've motivated lots of instructors in the martial art realm. And one thing is being a motivational person that motivates others, and the other one is, when do we stop motivating? Understand what I'm saying? Are we going to be spending 100% of our time with people that really don't want to do anything, or 50% of our time at people that really want to learn? Understand? For an example, I had a student of mine that I've been, I've had for many years. I won't mention his name, but he called me up and he says, Professor, you're hard to get a hold of. I go, what do you mean? Well, you're hard to reach. What do you mean? I mean, you call me right now, I picked up the phone. When have I never answered the phone for somebody or found me at the school teaching or whatnot? You know what I'm saying? And he goes, well, it's not like before. And I go, what do you mean like before? Well, before you should, call up and say, hey, training is at this time and training is at that time, and we have this competition coming from here. And I go, oh, that's a different. The difference between that and this is, what you're saying is, when you were training and you were training for a bout, I had to not take care of you all, but I had to make sure that everybody was in one path. Once you stop competing and once you start going on your own, if you're not looking, okay, and people are just calling for you to, hey, let's get back to training, you have a test coming up, you have to learn this curriculum. If you cannot self-motivate yourself, nobody else is going to do that. I understand you and myself. I go, the person that motivates me in the morning is me, myself, and I. Understand what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
We have to kind of ingrain that into our students or folks that want to go into the martial arts. It's you yourself are the only person that can motivate you. You can go listen to speakers, you can go listen to what have you, and you can get an idea and you can get that in there, but you have to find something that's going to motivate you to continue moving forward. That's the number one. Discipline. Are you disciplined enough to go to class? It's at 7:00 every night. Are you going to class once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week? Every day that the class is open, are you going there? If the class starts at 7:00, are you showing up at 7:20, 7:30 to work out? Or are you getting there 10, 15 minutes before, making sure that all your equipment and you're properly worked out and stretched out for you to do the class? Understand what I'm saying? That's a difference between discipline. If you got a person that shows up once, twice a month comes in late over a person that comes in every time and he's there 15, 20 minutes before the class actually starts. I guess that's discipline. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that my experience has been that to to get other people to develop their self-discipline to do what they need to do to reach their goals, then I set them up on kind of the SMART goal system. And I tell them, listen, first thing is you have to have a goal. You can't just wander through life and wonder why you didn't achieve anything when you're on your deathbed. So your goals have to be specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound. You have to put a time limit on it. You have to schedule the steps of doing this. And putting yourself on a schedule is one of the best things for an athlete or just anyone in general. You know, there's so many free ways to do that with Google Calendar or just even a dollar store day planner. And if people will track what they're supposed to do and do it at that time, then they'll find that they start developing the discipline through habit of doing it on those days at those specific times. So it becomes more about just following their schedule than it does about trying to stay motivated, because they shouldn't need extra motivation because it's their goal anyway. You know, if it's still something they want in their life, then they need to take the steps. You know, if you have to keep like massaging somebody's want to do something, then it's not really a goal for them. And that's what I tell my mentoring students, that you know, you have to make your goals very specific and then set a schedule, because otherwise it'll never happen.
Absolutely. And in the realm of the martial arts, whether it's Savate or Hapkido or Aikido or Taekwondo or whatnot, there's so many different variables that you're going for. There's testing for rank. I think that should be the best self-motivator in there. You know, do you want to attain this rank? You
Yes.
should learn to strive to learn the curriculum for you to be able to perform that rank correctly. You shouldn't just pass an exam by the skin of your teeth. You should pass the exam with excellent colors because you have an instructor that's there that's willing to teach you. And that's across the board. I do not know one instructor that if you don't tell him, I'm having trouble with this technique, that he's not going to spend time in teaching.
Right.
Okay. I do not know of one that won't do that, but you have to ask. So those are the goal setters. Number one, what is the curriculum for my next exam? Am I doing it correctly? If you're going to compete, am I going to compete for this tournament that's coming out in about 6 weeks? Am I going to start working out 4 days before or 4 weeks before to be at my top peak level for performance? Understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different avenues within the martial arts that can get you to self-motivate yourself. Others will be there to back you up while you're trying to attain that goal.
Right.
That it happens, you know. And in competition, there's a different realms. Are you going to go for point karate, or are you going to go for more combative in the kickboxing, boxing inside, or MMA in the ring? Which, you know, whatever it is, there's stuff in there that changes the goal, that changes the drive, that changes the motivation. Granted, if you training for any belt exam, it's not going to be the same thing that if you're training for an MMA bout. You know, you have to have conditioning. Both you have to have conditioning, but one you have to have a little bit more peak conditioning. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's a difference. That's a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that you know, with your experience, particularly with fighters, that it makes achieving the goal easier because you give them the plan and you give them the training schedule and you provide the tools. All they have to do is do the steps. The plan is already professionally laid out for them, and it makes it much easier. Whereas with other things, they might need, you know, outside help. And it's one of the things I tell people all the time is that the difference between achieving your goals and not achieving them is not whether it's hard or not, because if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be a goal. People who never do anything hard are surviving. They're not really living. If they get to the end of their life and they're like, wow, where did that 70 years go? I achieved nothing, you know? But when they follow the plan, and I tell people, I go, do you think Muhammad Ali wanted to get up at 4 a.m. to go run? No. And guess what? There are guys that he beat that didn't. They didn't dedicate the same amount of time to their training. So if you're going to achieve it, you have to take action. You have to do the work, because there's no way to achieve things without it, without doing the work. And nobody can do the work for you.
Absolutely. 100% agreement. So, and now discipline, like how can you teach discipline? I always tell this to parents, because parents, that's the second reason why they bring them to martial arts. Excuse me. One is usually it's bullying. They have problems with bullying at school. And the other one, they always ask, can you teach them discipline? Well, the kid's 8 years old. You've been weaning him since he was born. You're the one that should be teaching him discipline at the house, how to shake proper hands, how to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. You know what I'm saying? That's discipline. That's discipline as well. Where do we leave, or where do we mess up as parents? But you have to. But you get those kids in there that have not that discipline. So how do you teach those disciplines? Well, they're going to learn that through the art, through the way that system is taught. They have to understand that they can't be wiggling around, jumping around, doing whatever they want, because you're in a class. Right. It's not playtime. So that discipline, that's I think it's kind of a harder discipline that many people fail at. There's some great instructors out there, but that's the one where many fail.
I think you made an excellent point there, and I see that in adults, but more specifically in children, that the reason they lack discipline is they lack any structure in their life. Particularly for kids, they get out of school, they go home, they play on their cell phone or a video game for 3 hours until mom and dad get home, and then after that, they eat in their room while they play a game. There's no structure. It's just them doing whatever they want. And I don't think that they want to play a video game all the time, but they have nothing else scheduled. They have no activity calendar. And when parents start scheduling things for the children in creating that structure in their life, they'll see an improvement in the discipline, because children crave that. They want to know, okay, this is what time I get out of school, and then I've got reading time, and I've got time to ride my bike, and then I've got homework time, and then we have dinner, and there's this. But if all you leave them is random open time, then they're going to do whatever's easiest, because they're kids. Just like they're eating, they're not going to develop good eating habits unless the parents control what the snacks and what the meals are. If you have a bowl of apples on your table, then your kid is going to have an apple for a snack. But if you fill your freezer with ice cream and other treats, that's what they're going to eat, because they're a kid. It's up to the parents to help them develop that discipline and through those habits.
Absolutely. I agree. And, we have to understand that discipline comes with planning. That's number one word, planning. And planning to strive to move forward or to change, right? So regardless whether it's changing a bad habit like an eating habit or a performance habit, okay, we have to start planning ahead of time. So people sometimes need to basically start planning out your day. And if folks, and I'm going to say this to the adults, most martial arts schools across the nation, they do some type of form of tuition agreement contract. There's very few that do month to month, but whatever you did, whatever you're paying for and how you're doing it, there's an obligation. There's an obligation from that instructor, and there's an obligation from you, the student that purchased. And what I'm coming to is that when you show up to class, you're paying for whatever, how many classes you're going to, you better start scheduling them and making the time to go to it. It's not the instructor. The instructor's going to be there. In fact, they can also give you options. You can come to these classes that we have at this time, or many. I do not know an instructor that would not adapt or change the schedule for somebody if they need be. And what I mean by that is, if the person starts working nights and he can only come in the mornings and they have a morning class, we'll come to the morning class.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But folks need to start penciling in on their planning day and on their schedule is like 7 o'clock is class, and I have to be there from 6:30 to probably about 8:30. So you have those 2 hours that are open, and that's my time, and I have to go learn and then take it at school.
Yeah, I agree completely. And another thing that will help people go a long way is to start eliminating distractions, because those do nothing but set you back on your goals. And I see this all the time where somebody's not getting the things done that they want to do to achieve their goals because their friends who have nothing to do, that are bored, are constantly texting them or calling them, wanting to talk or wanting to reply. And it's always the same conversation. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Yeah, me either. And those conversations are hours a week of your life that you're letting somebody steal from you. You're not achieving your goals because you've got too many people in your life that just track you through your device. And I know there's times of the day when I want to work on something. Like right now, I'm writing a book, and I'm in the stage now where I'm going back and proofreading and editing. And so if I dedicate a 2-hour block to that, I turn my phone off for 2 hours because I'll check it after I'm done. And if something came up that I need to respond to, I will. But if it's just, 15 text messages saying, hey, what you doing? I don't need to answer those.
Yeah.
Because when they didn't get a hold of me, they knew I was doing something,
Absolutely.
So what have you seen have been some of the biggest distractions, particularly for like competitors, that keep them from staying on their training schedule?
Once you start a competitor, the friends that you have to be serious. You have to have that discipline. You have to be serious because you got a coach, especially an amateur. I say this in amateur. Okay, you have amateur coaches that are giving their time to you, or trainers that are giving their time, their blood, sweat, and tears. They're giving it away to you for you to become something in life, for you to win, for you to become a champion. So and they're not getting, a lot of these coaches aren't getting paid. Some of the coaches that are in USA Boxing and of course USA Savate and USA Wrestling, they're not getting paid. So what happens is that when you have fighters that all of a sudden, well, guess what? I'm going to throw 3 weeks out of training because I'm going to go to this party and party with these friends of mine that were not around when I was actually training. Right. Understand what I'm saying? They could care less whether I train or win or not. Understand what I'm saying? And they throw it away for that one night of partying out, and they go back into the training, or they go back into competition and actually lose. It kind of brings down the morale of everybody else. I think that's the worst part. I think the friends that you have, they're going to try to get you to go to a bar, get you to go to a club, get you to go to a party, get you to go do something else that is not healthy for what you're doing. Understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, if you're a professional athlete and a professional fighter and you're paying a trainer and you're doing that stuff, it's not the trainer's fault. It's your fault. Understand what I'm saying? And that's where people are wrong. I'm going to say this because I had and this is funny because I've told a lot of people, and I said, when you have somebody that's winning, I don't care what art it is, what martial art, it's winning. Be winning in baseball as well. people are going to say that he's a natural and he learned it when he was weaning off his mother. Okay. Learned it in the womb. Okay.
Right.
But if he loses, it's a coach's fault. It's a trainer's fault. Don't people?
I see that a lot. Yeah. And what a lot of people, particularly parents, don't understand that it was their kid that didn't make their training a priority.
Yes.
Because even though the parent drove them to the class, the parents aren't encouraging them. The parents don't tell them, hey, I like to see you try hard, things like that. They just play on their phone while the kid does class, but when somebody makes their training a priority, they reap the rewards. Some people are like, oh, I have to, pay the price to get what I want. No, you reap the rewards for doing the work that's required to get that. And you need to surround yourself with friends. That's why I tell people, if your goal is martial arts related, you need to befriend the other people training in your class, because they're not going to try to distract you away from class. Whereas your other friends outside of there are going to be like, hey, Richard, let's go play pool tonight. Or, hey, Richard, let's go throw darts. I'm like, no, I got class. I'm not going to give up my dreams to go swill beer and throw darts because you're bored. You know what I mean? And parents need to apply that same thing. Don't just driving the kid to class isn't the end of your responsibility. You have to, as a parent, encourage them. I'm sure that parents are like, hey, what'd you get a C in math? What's this about? Don't wait until the kid is slipping to encourage them to do better, whether it's math or martial arts. You have to be that positive influence in their life. And if you're an adult, you need to surround yourself with other adults who are a positive influence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Boxing and Savate, they're known as a lonely man's art. Okay. Most people, and I see it with Savate, and you see it with, and I see it within the different arts that I've trained throughout the years, and the ones that I've stayed there the longest, of course, is Savate. Then it's Kempo, then of course Capoeira, and each one of them has a different attraction. Savate is basically your folks that are by themselves. They're leaders in their own way, in their own different things, whether they're in the police or firemen or what have you. It's they're not there with their buddies. They're folks that do things on their own. Understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you go to capoeira, and capoeira is more of a community, and you might have folks that are really not that good in physically, and then there's others that are extremely talented athletically, but they're all in there helping one another, and it's more of a communal base. While Kempo forms that clan. Okay.
Yeah, community is very important in achieving your goals. That's why, see, sometimes in life, that community is built for you. Like if you're going to college to learn a certain thing and get a degree in that, you are surrounded by other people with those goals without any effort on your own, because they're there for the same reason you are. And it should be the same with martial arts class. The other people there should be as committed. And if you see somebody in your class that it looks like they're just trying to go through the motions and kill the time, they're not getting the benefits from really training the proper way. And you should encourage those people. But I see it's time for us to wrap it up. But in closing, is there one specific tip that you would give our viewers that you would recommend as like their first step to develop their self-discipline to improve their training or improve any aspect of their life, really?
For discipline, to start develop discipline, having a set pattern goal, I would start planning my days. I would start planning my weeks. I would start planning everything that goes forward, what you need to do. There's 24 hours a day. Okay. And most people work 9 to 5. most adult martial art classes are from 8 to 9 p.m. at night. Okay, or from 8:30 to 10.
Right.
Understand what I'm saying? You have enough time twice a week to be an adequate martial artist to go to any school and actually say, you know what, on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9, that's when I'm going to be scheduling my class. And so I have to start planning around that time in the evenings. And maybe you eat a salad afterward. Maybe you start losing weight, instead of driving home and picking up that burger on the drive-through. Don't. Move forward.
Yeah, I know that for me, I found that once I set the goal, that making that a priority made the discipline part easy because I knew it was something that I wanted and I was going for it. But this has been a great show today. I'm glad we're back and
I'm
doing
glad
this.
I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah, and anybody watching that, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, share this with friends, and even reach out to us if you have some topics that you would like to see us touch on in upcoming shows. But, on behalf of the Fight for Your Health TV show, I'm Richard Hackworth. Thank you for watching.
And be safe, stay safe, and continue training. Till next time. Peace.